Hi, everybody. This is Derek here at the Chan Real Estate Group, and we've completed our month of April 2020. We've gotten the market stats from the Toronto Real Estate Board, and it's actually really interesting. And so, a lot of people have been waiting to see how April has shook out, during this COVID period, and what would happen with the pricing, what would happen with the real estate market. And so, it looks like we have our data in, and so I personally feel that this is actually pretty good news. Sort of what we were assuming what was happening in the marketplace based on the buyers and the sellers that we're working on, and talking to other colleagues within the industry. And so if you look at the Greater Toronto Area in 2020, you're going to see here that the activity, the amount of sales was down significantly year over year. We were down by 67%. So the amount of transactions that we did in the GTA was 2,975, and in 2019 we had 9,042. So there was definitely a significant drop in the activity because of COVID. That being said, though, what's interesting to see is that the listings that came out during the same period was also down very similar. So the sales were down, new listings were down about 64%. And so what that means is that, the same amount of buyers, even though it's lessened, the ratio of new listings has come down as well. So that means that the competition for new listings and inventory were still tight. So that means that people buying and selling who needed to transact for whatever reason, whether it be for the job, for health, for financial reasons, people that needed to transact in real estate still didn't have a lot to choose from. And so the houses that were, or the homes that were selling, were still selling at a relatively good price. What's most important, I think, for people is to find out what's happening with the pricing. And so what we'll notice is the average sale price in April was actually slightly up, so marginal. 821,000 last year, 2019 was 820,000. And so in certain markets, plus or minus 5 to 10% on the sale price is the average sale price. So that would say that or indicate that we have not come down in pricing year over year. And so if you look at your days on market, you'll also notice that, hey, yep, we're a little bit longer because we have 24 days on market versus last year was 19 days on market. But that being said, it's not that much different than where we were last year. And so last year we had a really hot market, and this indicates that properties are still selling, okay? Let's take a look at the graphs. For those who like statistics, you'll see sort of the trend and the pattern. Like we mentioned before, there's 6,000, just a little over 6,000 sales. So we're down, or sorry, new listings rather, and we're down 64% for new listings. Sales were down by 67%, okay? What's important to note about this pricing graph here is actually, so compared year over year, 821 versus last year at this time, 820. So we're very, very similar to where we were last year. However, we are on off of the target that we were at on February and March. So right here, you see sort of the peak prices in 2020 pre-COVID, and we were on an upward trajectory because the market, as of 2019, was heating up here, going to increase. And then in January and February, when the inventory was low, the market seemed to be heating up. And so what happens is that off of the peak pricing, we're about down about 9 or 10% from the peak pricing. So prices have not come down year over year, but the momentum that was gained at the beginning of this year has eroded because of COVID. And so we're down about 9 or 10%. So that's what's happening in the GTA market. We have about 1.9 months of inventory. And so all this is to say is that, anything that's from 0 to 3 months worth of inventory, that means that you're still technically in a seller's market. 3 to 4 months, you're in sort of a balanced market. Anything more than 4 months of inventory on the market means that we're in a buyer's market. So for all you buyers out there, this is still unfortunately a seller's market. I mean, the GTA real estate market is always outperformed and is a little bit of an anomaly compared to the rest of North America. And so we're still actually doing really strong. I think what the benefit is for the buyers that are out there, you're not running into the multiple offers that you would have been if you were putting offers in January, February, and even at the beginning of March. So you're looking at the days on market here on this graph here. It says 24 days versus last year we're at 19 days. Just post COVID, or sorry, rather pre-COVID, we're selling things pretty quickly at 17 days on market, and then 23 days on market, and January 37 days on market, respectively. So let's touch a little bit about Mississauga as well. Very similar, from city to city, the trends are very, very similar. We're down in sales 72%, and our new listings were down about 66%. And so again, there's a relatively like very similar percentage wise, and the ratios are still the same. However, you'll see that actually the average price in Mississauga is actually up by 8.45%. So, prices have not come down in Mississauga relative to last year. And our days on market, slightly longer, 21 days versus 16 days on market last year. Pricing, very similar trends to the overall GTA market. We're up where we were compared to last year, but again, we're down from February and March where we were earlier this year, also about 8-9%. Okay. 1.5 months worth of inventory. And our days on market again are 21 days versus 16 days. So guys, we have graphs for different cities, whether you wanted in Brampton, Halton, Milton. We have many different cities that we're analyzing the data for, just to give more information for our clients, so they can make better decisions. I think in order to summarize all of what we're seeing here is that, in my personal opinion, is that the market is still very tight. The buyers that we have and that we're working on are finding it hard to get good inventory. And so when a good home comes up, it's still getting scooped up. And I think that now things have normalized and people are very familiar with this COVID new reality that we're living in. People are still anxious to buy and move. And so if that was their plan this year, it might have gotten pushed back. And if the government opens the gates again, where we can sort of get back out, start opening the market slowly, my prediction will be that the buyers are going to be jumping back into the market, which is going to make the prices really competitive again, and we might see multiple offers if the inventory doesn't come back. And so if people come back into the market, and again, there's not as many listings, we're going to hit the multiple offer situation again. So my recommendation is that if you guys are thinking of buying right now, it's probably a good time to help you avoid the multiple offer situation in the next couple months. And if you guys are sellers, then also because there's no inventory, you might actually get a premium of a price right now, because there's not a lot of competition. And so anyways, if you guys have any questions at all about the market, we'd love to answer them for you. Feel free to reach out to us, and until next time, stay safe and God bless.